If only everybody could hear Andy's countdown.
Andy that was a great countdown. Good morning, Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to TRS
Do you think
Live,
people think we script this?
the podcast. Oh, 100%.
You think they do?
Dude,
we were not talking about anything about the show.
No.
Until I started counting down, and then I'm like, hey, I'm just going to talk about Andy's countdown.
They do a nice job of drawing up our cue cards for every show. Like, everything is rehearsed. So good morning, everybody. Good morning, Daryl. I see Daryl's in Arizona. I'm
Matt's
Matt
back.
Trotz.
You're not dead.
I'm back.
You actually got some color in your face again, man. You look good. I mean,
I don't know what I had, but it wasn't good. That was the sickest I've been in a long time.
Yeah, you were down and out, man.
And I tried to grind it out, come to work one day.
That was dumb. Don't do that again, please. Can you just not do that again?
I won't.
Okay, thank you.
I won't. So Brian's here. Andy's here. How was everybody's weekend, boys?
Andy, what'd you do all weekend? Don't tell me you just chilled all weekend.
You binge watched what binge series this weekend?
I did continue binge watching The Walking Dead, but we also helped Mona's sister's family move.
Ooh.
So that was a blast.
You must have gotten some big brownie points for that.
I don't think I did, but
Well, you should renegotiate your contract.
So
yes.
if I'm not counting but trying to count, this is 3 consecutive weekends of Walking Dead. How many freaking weekends of Walking Dead are in your
How
future,
long are those
bro?
episodes? Are they full hour long episodes?
45 minutes.
Okay, so that takes a while. I mean, it's a commitment, man. If you're getting through a 7-8 seasons of that.
Yeah, there's
Probably,
like
what,
17
13,
episodes
12?
a season.
17?
Yeah. And
Holy
then
cow.
season 11 has 3 times that. Well, they have like 28 episodes because they did an extended season because of COVID. But yeah, I don't know. I'm only trying to get to the point where Rick dies because that's like old stuff that I kind of forgot all
Yeah,
about.
that doesn't mean anything to me.
Basically,
watch
I got
Walking
like
Dead,
6
Matt?
episodes left.
Okay.
No, I did not.
Like, how zombie-ish is it? I've never watched The Walking Dead. Like, is
Oh
it
my
just...
God. You've never watched it?
No.
Do you not like zombie stuff?
I have the same issue when I play video games. Like, I try to find new games to play, and they're all zombie. Like that's all the games are. It's like it's either football or like killing zombie crap. I'm like, can't somebody come up with something new other than zombie crap?
There, terrorist games too.
Well, there's some of those, but everything's like zombie. Games? Like there's right, Andy. Like 80% of all games are zombie related games.
I thought you guys were getting into the farming stuff. I thought you guys were growing.
I'm saying it's a thing. It's a thing. It's kind of interesting,
Angus.
but whatever.
So,
what'd you do other than just recoup?
I have to ask Andy a question. First of all, good morning, Bob. Don't go anywhere. We do have an awesome guest coming up today, and Andy, what platform? Chad Smith, fishing. Chad Smith. We're gonna get into that one. What platform are you watching this on, and is it commercial free?
So when it first airs, I do watch it on the AMC app, and I don't remember if that's commercial free or not. To be honest, I think it might intro with a commercial, and then after that, it's. Actually, no, sorry. I do believe it has a commercial probably about every 15 minutes.
See, so we need The Walking Dead to be on the fixed platform.
Yeah, you figure out how to do that, Matt.
Free,
you
bro.
Figure out how to do that, I will send, you figure out how to get The Walking Dead exclusively on fixed TV. I will send you and Molly anywhere you want to go.
I have Hulu, and I probably have the cheapest Hulu, and there is nothing worse than
it's just nonstop commercials. It's so brutal.
Gag me with a broadhead. I mean,
so
seriously.
There is, at least with AMC.
You're not gonna say hi to your mom.
I will. I'm being polite.
Okay, sorry.
So I pay for the AMC Plus like premium account.
Right.
So I at least get the shows a week before they air on TV.
That's kind of cool.
But I still have to deal with commercials.
Yeah.
Really?
F commercials.
So you're paying for the preview deal, but you still got to deal with commercials.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Daryl. That's fantastic. Are you gonna say hi to your mom now?
Okay. Good morning, Mom.
Jesus. I mean, she's like trying to help you out, and you're just ignoring her.
Ma was a big supporter. I want to. So I didn't do anything else. Like just it was a recovery
I went
weekend.
so willing to watch football.
Yep. So all right. Let's get that out of the way since you brought it up.
Football.
Let's talk about.
I could
these
literally
two games.
care less about what the Super Bowl became now, because the two teams I wanted to win both lost. So
I agree.
I'm just out.
So okay.
I mean, I'll still watch the game. Don't get me wrong. And I think on paper it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
Nothing about either one of the Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles. Nothing about either one of those teams intrigues me at all.
No.
So I don't.
It's conspiracy, bro. I think they.
Okay. So Purdy getting hurt. Like he obviously couldn't throw. The Niners were limping bad.
Terrible.
Like if you're a one-dimensional team in the NFL, you're in deep doo-doo. Did I say doo-doo on live?
Well,
I did. I said doo-doo. So anyway, it would. Jesus. Cody, I take donations.
Yep. GoFundMe, Cody.
I take donations.
Yep.
So anyway, what are you gonna do, right? I mean, the team's down to the third string quarterback already.
Fourth string.
No,
they
Purdy's
were
their third.
into the game. Yeah.
Purdy gets hurt. Like nobody's got a fourth string guy that's any good. Like, come on, most teams don't have a second or third string guy that's any good.
Right.
You know, that is just unfortunate timing, and it wasn't a cheap hit. It was football, right?
It's football,
like,
baby.
Is what it is. And the sucky thing was, it sounded like it was like a nerve in his elbow, and he couldn't feel his hand.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are you gonna do?
Sleep on it the wrong
I feel
way.
bad about that. But then the Chiefs game, like, I hate to be the conspiracy theorist guy.
Oh, I'm there, man.
But not only were the Bengals playing against the 12th guy, being KC was rowdy. Like that place was loud.
It was, yeah. It had
For an outdoor stadium,
Yep.
that place was. I'll give the Chiefs fans credit, man. That place was rocking.
Yep.
Like they had silent reporters, you could hardly hear them.
Oh yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah.
But then the officiating was just so. Seems so one-sided.
There's the call,
and
right?
I hate to be that guy, but it's just like it's like happening in front of you. How do you not argue it? It's so bad.
There's a lot of calls that went in favor of the Chiefs, and that one where it was
they had like 5 possessions. What happened with that?
Fourth, yeah.
Did they ever give an explanation why it went from fourth down to third down again?
They did show like halfway through like the 3 or 4 series after the Chiefs were going to go score that there was a sideline ref came onto the field and was putting his arms up trying to stop the play, but because it was so loud, they didn't stop the play.
You couldn't even hear the whistles. It was crazy.
I thought I heard a whistle, but nobody stopped. Maybe it was that play, maybe it wasn't. I don't know, man. I think it was rigged.
There was one that I heard whistles that you could faintly hear the whistle.
Okay, maybe that was
faintly hear it. Normally you can hear them really well.
Yeah.
There was a dead ball, whatever. It was a false start.
Yep.
I've heard. I I don't know. It just seemed like there's so many calls down the stretch.
That was terrible.
I still want to know what they were hopping up Mahomes on, because he wasn't, other than the one time he looked a little gimpy, like the dude's either way tougher than tough, right? Or it's a miracle 18 hours a day of physical therapy and some whatever hoppy
they
drugs
have hospitals on the sidelines.
Well, I know, but
you, man, like if your back's as jacked up as you say it is at times,
right?
And you just have this traveling doctor,
but
with
still, you would think just physically, like, I don't know, it's crazy. I
well,
mean,
they are.
Props to him if he's playing. If it's a really bad high ankle sprain and he's somehow nutting it up enough to play at that level, that's pretty good. I mean, that's impressive, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. There was just a lot of iffy calls. But on the flip side, you can't push one of the top 2-3 quarterbacks in the league when he's out of bounds and not expect that that flag to come out.
Yeah, but that's frustration after.
Well, I agree,
they gave him the win.
But that's what gave him the win. I'm talking the very last play of the game
where he pushed him out of bounds.
Well, why?
Yeah, but that happened
stupid.
After the whole nother possession.
No, I understand, but like we could still win.
Yeah,
but like that just, I mean, the officials had no choice but to make that call.
Play.
I mean, right?
Dumb. That was dumb. Like the one weekend I decided to watch football because I have nothing better to do. Like it was terrible football.
So I don't know.
And then we talked about too. Like we got to get to Chad here, but let's talk about whiny LeBron. You even talked to me about basketball.
Yeah, well, I only saw it because of Instagram Reels, right? It's the only reason I saw it.
Yep. Have you foregone TikTok?
A little bit. I just got annoyed. I don't know. Actually, when all the Chinese stuff came out, I was kind of like, ooh, I don't know if I don't want to support that.
They're getting further along with the China ban it.
Well, I know, but I just, I don't need to.
It has gotten pretty stale.
It did. It pretty much went nowhere because there's just, I think if people, and I have no insight on this, I'm just speculating, but I think if you could see how the money was flowing behind the scenes, there's a reason why stuff like that legislation gets stale. Yeah. Because everybody's in the freaking pocket. Anyway, see, I could say stuff like that on fixed TV without getting shadow banned. It's our show. But anyway, the LeBron thing, like he obviously got hacked. He was going, like, what was the situation? It was like the last play of the game.
Yeah, they were
tie ball game, right?
Overtime.
So they ended up going to overtime and they lost. Yep. Right. So LeBron, like I was talking with a buddy of mine, he thinks LeBron walks on water.
I think they won in overtime.
I thought they lost in overtime.
Los Angeles.
I honestly could care less.
Had some big
but I could care less. But here's my beef with that whole situation. LeBron goes up 10 years ago. He probably dunks it, whatever, gets fouled, whatever. He can't. I mean, he's been in the league like 100 years at this point, right?
Yeah, he's 38. Dude.
Yeah, I mean, right? So whatever. Still had to step on the guy. Still got fouled. It's blatant why these leagues can't get that figured out. They have a challenge or something.
Yep.
Like, I guess they do have a challenge system in the NBA, but
yes, they do.
Maybe they were out of it. Maybe it's like an inside 2 minutes again to the NFL. Like it comes down from the booth, whatever.
Yep.
Like that kind of call should get done.
Oh, 100%.
But what I don't like is the antics. Like, dude, you're like one of the richest guy on planet Earth. Yeah. You're jumping around like an idiot. Was it a bad call? Sure. But now a guy, this is where I lose it with like a guy like LeBron. He has no issues talking about things that are totally out of his sphere, meaning non-basketball related. Like, I don't care about anything LeBron James has to say other than basketball.
Yep.
Like, I'm a Jordan over LeBron guy.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a basketball guy, but just I just liked his game better. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine too. But like, if LeBron wants to talk basketball, okay, fine. LeBron likes to talk about everything else. He's got this mic, right? He's a huge cultural, he's huge, right? So he's got no problems talking about all this other crap, right? So why doesn't he, instead of acting like a 2-year-old, go to the mic, know he's going to get fined about talking about the officials, but use his platform. Newsflash, LeBron James can handle a couple 100,000 in fines from the NBA. I don't know, you're right? Like, I'm not trying to say money isn't important, but I'm pretty sure in the big scheme of things, LeBron can probably absorb a couple $100,000 in fines.
You could.
Because I know that the league's going to come after him if he's talking about the officiating. Yeah. But there's a situation where he could use his mic and his voice to try to inflict some actual change that somebody cares that he talks about.
But he wants to,
right, in the game of basketball. Like his game, like he's been the figure for it for 10 plus years now, but he wants to throw a temper tantrum. And then I lose all respect for it because why are we throwing a temper tantrum?
Yeah, he's a baby.
Right? Let's talk about fishing.
He laid on, that was terrible.
No, that's just stupid. Like,
it was.
Use your voice for what it's meant for. Don't,
So, and that's why let's bring this up on another show, Andy. Remind us to circle back. That's the new word.
That was
for
the word of the day is circle back.
Circle back. We're circle back. Cause like now, like you probably haven't seen it, but TikTok and mixtape, right? The NBA was always full of these mixtapes, and you went out and you did mixtapes of like these high school prodigies.
Okay.
But now I saw something this weekend where all these kids are parents are paying to make their own mixtape of their kids.
Oh, that's a thing. It's been a thing for a long time now.
Yeah, but like they used to go film kids like that were good.
Okay.
But now they're just anybody can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Anybody can
We got approached when Jimmy was in senior about getting into this deal, and they were going to travel around with him.
Yeah.
And he's going to go to his clinic.
Money to be made.
100%.
So yeah, it's a long story. But anyways, waiting with us patiently is Chad Smith, and Chad Smith is a professional bass angler. He's from the state of Minnesota. Andy, bring him on in. What up?
What's up, guys?
Dude, this has been a fun opportunity to get Chad on. Okay, so here's how I make contact with Chad. Is because
you're doing your job.
We are looking for Fix TV creators. And I stumbled upon Chad's Facebook, YouTube, all that great stuff. Watched the one video, which is, what is it titled? Pro to Co or Co to Pro, right?
Co to Pro,
yeah. You definitely don't want to go pro to co.
Yeah, you don't want to go pro to co. So I watched it. I was really intrigued by Chad's story, and I'm like, dude, like, not only is he going to be good for the Fix TV brand,
yeah,
but I think he's going to be a great guest. So thanks so much, Chad. We appreciate you being on today, my man.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's cool how it all kind of came up, and I appreciate the opportunity to be on here with you guys. So thank you.
So what do you got rolling on a Monday morning so far?
Basically rolling out of bed. No, but no, not a whole lot. Honestly, it was a long weekend for me. I work at a restaurant and just serving, so it was a busy weekend. So I'm just kind of regrouping from that. Going to get caught up on a few things and work again tonight. So just not a whole lot.
I watched your video, the Coda Pro video last night. Matt sent it to me just to try to get to know you a little bit better or whatever. So for people that might not know who you are, haven't watched that video yet, why don't we just kind of rewind a little bit to where you got started and who Chad Smith is and where we're sitting right now, because that video was really well done, by the way. So nice work on that, whoever you had put that together. But just the story and kind of where you got from 2013 to today was really interesting.
No, yeah, thank you. I gotta give props to my buddy Adam Bartusek. He actually is the one who kind of put that video together. He kind of branched out and started doing some independent work, filming wise and stuff, and he kind of used me as a guinea pig. So it was a cool project that he put together. So got to give him the thanks for that. But so really, like, I graduated high school in 2013. I've lived kind of up around the Lake Minnetonka area in Minnesota my whole life, just west of the Twin Cities, and kind of always had the knack for fishing really my whole life. But as I got out of high school, I mean, kind of through that transition of like middle school, high school, I became a lot more aware of like the tournament scene on things. And then from there, I went to college. I actually went down to Winona State for a little bit, or for like a year. And long story short, ended up dropping out of school because I had some guys who initially with my high school graduation up around where I'm living now, they were going to fish the Bassmaster Opens. And I was working at Gander Mountain in high school and kind of like was tied in with some of the guys who fished around Lake Minnetonka that were going to do this. And they asked me if I was interested in maybe going as being like one of their co-angler links. And I found out like 2 days before they wanted to leave. It was kind of a last minute thing that they had a guy back out to go who was going to do it with them. And so they needed someone last minute. And so I got a call and he's like, yeah, man, and we'd have to leave in like 2 days. I'm like, okay, well, it's like Sunday night. And I'm like, I graduate high school on Friday. And he's like, oh. And so like, I'm like, hang on. I like called my dad and he's like, you don't have to walk at graduation. I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to go fishing. So
best decision like, ever.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. It was crazy, but it was fun. So I went and talked into my counselor and everything. And the guy who I went and traveled with, his name was John Figge. And it was pretty funny. My counselor actually, when I was going to see about like, you know, not walking at graduation, they actually knew John Figge. So they were like, "Oh my gosh, go have fun. Like, that's awesome." Kind of thing like that. It was just
Wish I
like
could have
small
gotten out of my
world stuff. And I
graduation.
can so it was crazy, but yeah, so then fast forwarding, I fished as a co-angler for about 4 to 5-ish years. If you count that one tournament, that would be like my 5th year doing it, but I did it for 4. Pretty hardcore as a co-angler in the opens, and then in 2018 I did a division of the opens and then did the FLW tour. And from there, just throughout that whole process, I was really fortunate to kind of be around some of the right people and build some good relationships, and had some cool opportunities to then make that transition in 2019 to fish as a boater in the opens. And I've kind of done that since. And this last season, 2022, was my 4th year doing it. And I went all in with it. Did all 9 opens, and now they did some rule changes that to qualify for the Elite Series, you have to do all 9 opens. And I was dead set. Plan was to do all the opens again this year, and just with a few things on the back end on my side, I just kind of decided to take a year to regroup, because I've been kind of doing this for a while, and I kind of wanted to redirect or reevaluate kind of the path. It's almost like take a step back to take a leap forward kind of thing is how I'm looking at it. So plan is to get back to it in 2024. That's the goal, but just kind of going to be fishing local and going to enjoy that. I haven't been able to spend a lot of time locally for a while.
Let's go back to your co-angler thing, Roach, because you've got a pretty interesting little record you hold, don't you?
Yeah, I guess so. So like, it was actually kind of goofy. So I actually won a tournament on Lake Norman in 2018 as a co, and I got a call from the CEO of Bassmaster that said like to congratulate, and then also he said I had a record for like the most consecutive top 10s as a co-angler, or most top 10s in consecutive events as a co-angler. And so ultimately, like, that ended up at, it was 8 out of 11.
That's insane.
Tournaments.
So just for people that don't know, like, we've got, like, not every pro tournament operates the same, right? Like, there's team events, there's bass, there's pro co, and even in the walleye world, there's pro co. But like in the walleye world, the pro and the co weigh the same fish. Like, they catch 5 fish and they weigh the same 5. Both of them do. Where on the bass side, the pro guy catches his 5 and the co guy has to catch his 5. Correct?
Right. Yep.
Right.
So you're really individual.
Yeah. So I mean, like, that's really interesting to me. That's really what I was the most interested to talk to you about, because not knowing where you're fishing every day, right? Because you're just jumping in a boat with a guy and you're going to his spots. I mean, obviously they're around fish, but you know, in any tournament, there's 120 guys. There's always guys that aren't in the running, right? Like, there's guys on the fish and there's guys not on the fish. But for you in the back of the boat to be able to be that consistent, I'm trying to wrap my head around that. That's pretty cool.
No, thanks. I don't even know how to really explain it. Like, it was just kind of one of the things. I traveled and practiced with Josh Douglas mostly for all the opens and stuff like that. And so like, the practice helped a lot. I kind of had like a prelim of what to maybe expect in different scenarios of where it might be like placed on the lake. And but yeah, I don't know. I kind of just stuck to like some confidence on things, and I just kind of fished like strategically, just trying to not make same casts or things like that, doing different things on my boaters. And I don't really know. It just kind of was one of those things that worked out. Like,
well, right, but like, there's a situation where you know the bite's going shallow, and then you get in a boat and some dude's drop shot in 35 feet of water, and you're like, all right, here we go. I got to make the best of this, right? Like that's, I mean, maybe not that exact situation, but it could have happened, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's weird. Like, I mean, the big focus too is like, if I can just focus on getting a limit, like if you can get a limit, it goes a long, long way. So like,
okay,
you know, you always want to catch big ones or whatever. But like, I knew if I could get myself a limit each day, like, it'd keep me in like the running to be able to, you know, either have a good next day or whatever it might be. And there's a lot of volatility that goes with the co-angler side. It's just things switch up because of that same reasoning. I mean, you're really at your boater's discretion with everything. So
I got a question with going with that. Like, you start like putting fish in a boat as the pro, right? As the driver of the boat. Did you run into situations where they started getting mad at you and like trying to not help you catch fish?
You mean
or
as
what?
the co?
Yeah, as the co, right? Because he's in the back.
I'm just making sure.
Well, no, because the pro is not catching the fish, and Chad is catching the fish. You know, and like there's the term backboating, right?
Oh,
like putting him in a situation where he can't catch fish. Did you find like some guys got mad, or did it flip flop and were some people like, all right, man, I'm going to help you catch more of your limit, and then I could focus on maybe catching mine?
I mean, generally, like, I try to be really respectful. So I didn't want to step on their toes because I know they have like a lot on the line too. And, you know, being reverse side now, like, I mean, it's just totally understandable, I guess, in my eyes. But I've seen both. It like
Tell
the
a
guys
story.
are typically pretty cool. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to tell anything too specific, but like guys are typically pretty cool. But you can tell it bothers them for sure.
Well, it's got to get in their head a little bit when you're getting outfished from back there.
Yeah,
has to.
Yeah, I've had a couple times on smallmouth tournaments in particular where it was just the craziest things. Like I was just like bombing a topwater and I caught like a 5 1/4 on Lake Champlain, and like I got that one in, and then like I caught another like 4 1/2 or something, and then from there on it ended up being like I just kind of my confidence was flowing. I don't like it's hard to explain, but once you're feeling it, you're just feeling it. You like yeah, right. But it's just one of those things. Like I'd be on like the back of the boat, and I'd just be like, we'd be out deep, we'd be shallow, we'd kind of bounce around, and then I'd just like drop my bait down off the back of the boat kind of randomly, and I'd catch like a 3 1/2 or 4 pounder that like my pro could have used. Like at that point, like, and I'd throw it back. And like they were just like you know, it just drove them nuts. But like I felt bad, so I just kind of like was like, okay, I'm not gonna like fish too hard anymore. But it just one of like there's a few of those days when the confidence is flowing. You just can't do anything wrong. It seems like.
I think it's safe to say during those moments, Chad had the dude factor going for him. Like it's just I'm in the zone.
No, there's certain days on the water that you just it's almost like you can see under the water.
Yep.
I don't know if this is the way it's happened for me. It's like I'm just there. I can literally see underwater. It's like I got this radar vision. I understand exactly where every rock is. I can see the fish setting up. I know exactly my line angle I need. Like it's just some days are like that. It's like any other sport, right? You get in the zone and things just start flowing. I just have never had the hair like that. So it's gotta help.
It's getting a little shaggy, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta get a cut.
It's epic, man. Don't let Brian tell you any different.
Well, I'm not. I'm jealous, dude. I'm like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
It's freaking epic. It's got to just flow when you're going 80 miles an hour in that basketball. So you said you fished the coal side for how many years?
Like I'm gonna say 4 1/2 ish.
And that's continuing on after you had such a good 2018 season. Why didn't you jump to the pro side more right away then?
So I actually started my first like full year doing it as a co-angler was in 2016.
Okay.
No, 2015, sorry.
Yep.
And then so I went like 2013 I missed my high school graduation, and then I skipped a year when I went to college. And then 2015 I did like 2 divisions of opens. And then 2016, gosh, it's all blending together.
You're
Sorry.
so old, man.
I don't know. I kept doing it. I know. What the heck?
It gets worse, man. You don't want to get that figured out. It gets worse.
But so I started in 2015, then I went 2016, 2017, and 2018 was my good year and switched over in 2019.
Okay. That makes sense. So, what was the conversation like? Okay, so you said your parents were cool with you skipping graduation, right? And then you went to college, obviously, shortly after that. Like, how did that conversation go with mom and dad with like, hey, it's either college or bass fishing, and I think college is not going to be where I'm staying?
Yeah, it was actually very supportive. they've like they've really kind of instilled in me like the whole like they encourage what I want to do big time. They support me in a lot of ways in that way. So I mean, ultimately, like I was paying for my school, and it's kind of a weird flip flop. I was actually going pre med in college, and then so it's like a polar opposite flip, but
Yeah, no kidding.
it's just like the the time and energy that I wanted to spend doing something like towards like a path in my life I wanted to take was just like I couldn't ignore the fishing stuff. It's just I've just kind of been bit by that bug for so long, and but they were really supportive about it. My dad's actually the one that he's like, if you don't do it now, he like encouraged me to drop out. And I mean, really both my parents, but they're like, if you don't do it now, you're gonna regret it later on, maybe, or whatever. You can always go back to school if you want to, but it's kind of just been one of those things like no plan B. We're kind of sending it.
I wonder did it take a lot of like amping yourself up to one day make that call? Or you're like, okay, today's the day. No, okay, I can't do it today, but no, tomorrow's the day. Like I'm calling, like what did that process look like before you're just like, rip the Band-Aid off? You call mom, dad, be like, listen, I'm going fishing. I'm not going to school anymore.
Yeah. It was like, it like progressively got a stronger feeling or that sense of it. So like, but really, I mean, I basically called my dad in tears, kind of like just at the breaking point of it. But once I had that conversation, it was like a weight lifted kind of thing. I just like felt like, okay, that was like, I made the decision now. And so I was just like going through the process of like, I don't even like dropping out of college, but I don't know. It was pretty like invigorating. I felt like a lot of weight lifted, and also I was like already stressed out with schoolwork, so I'm like, see you.
Right.
I was like, I got to worry about that anymore.
So going from the co side to the pro side, what do you think has been the biggest transition for you? Is it, I mean, the actual being the guy in charge of the decisions? Is it the boat, the running the boats? Like what was the biggest transition for you?
It's probably like the time management with decisions, kind of knowing like when to stay or when to go. That gets harder, when to, scrap a game plan you thought that was going to work out and just kind of go freestyle things or whatever it might be. But yeah, it's the time management. Like it's when you're rushing to get a bite, time flies. But when you're like feeling like, okay, wait, like today's being pretty decent to me or whatever, you're like time goes by slow. It's such a weird, it's almost like you're anticipating weigh in or you're like pushing it out, trying to, buy more time. And but yeah, definitely the time management and making the decisions has been the biggest thing, because co-angler wise, you're just, I mean, you're put where you're put and kind of got to make the best of it.
I was gonna ask you that if you found it harder to kind of mentally focus on the fishing side, because I didn't look at like how you've done since you switched to a pro, so maybe you're winning every other tournament, but I just was curious because yeah, well, no, but when you're on the co side, I'm not trying to pick on you, but when you're on the co side, it's like, here I am, I got to make the best of this situation. Yep. Like I can't worry about the fact that I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that. This is where I am. If I'm going to do well, I have to do well in this moment right here. Where when you're the pro, it's really easy to get caught up in like, I got all these other spots and I got to run around. And I was wondering if you've kind of seen that or if you've struggled with that.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've found, I mean, there's been, select few tournaments where I've found myself spinning out like in a way where like, gosh, I don't even know what to try, or like, it's just not going well. Or there's some days where it's weird. I feel like the more you think about it in that given situation, the more it doesn't seem to work out.
Yep.
Like it's almost like you try to force an idea that you have or what you think you should do and things like that, where I've had, maybe not the day one I wanted, but I go out day two and I'm just like, screw it. Like I'm just going to go fish what I think is right, or just switch it up completely, fish loose and have a good day. Like just a fun day. And those have seemed to be like my best days.
Well, I was going to say, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think the best tournament guys are always the guys that just go fishing.
Yep.
Which is what you get to do when you're the co-angler. You're just like, here I am, dude. I got my
sure.
18 baits and my 3 rods, and let's go, right? Like,
yeah, definitely. It's so true. Like, it's weird how it works, but I think there's just something about like the mindset you have towards that day that just things come to you better.
How influential are, like, you know, you mentioned the one guy that took you to your first tournaments. I mean, how important are those people, your traveling partners, your roomie partners, as you're progressing from the co to the pro side?
For sure. I think super important. I really ended up getting tied in with like Josh Douglas. I mean, I've had kind of a cool handful of mentors throughout kind of my journey of it all, and they still are. Like Josh has been a huge influence for me. I call him Sensei. He's not a sensei, but yeah, I mean, he's been cool. It's just like the back end, like the business side of fishing, the actual fishing. Like we've been around each other for so long, we've kind of seen each other grow throughout everything. So it's just been a cool. He's been a really good backboard for me if I'm looking for advice for anything and things like that. But aside from that, like I've gotten to know a lot of cool guys throughohout it all. Like, I mean, John Figgy, the guy I first traveled with, I mean, he's still a really good friend, and we hang out every once in a while and see each other around locally, and we'll be fishing some of the same tournaments next year and stuff like that. So, I mean, but I look up to all those guys still. They've all been a huge impact on me for sure. So.
I want to get into the one thing you mentioned there, the business side of fishing. I think is like for some of the younger generation, something that they probably overlook at first. Or like, well, I just get to go fishing and not have to worry about
paying bills,
the business side of it. Like, what kind of adjustment did that take for you as well? Like, holy smokes, like I still got to pay for stuff.
Yeah. That, I mean, that's the hardest thing. Like, and even still, you know, like I'm hustling, working at a restaurant. I'm doing like a bunch of side stuff. My buddy and I are doing like some house painting, stuff like that, like whatever. And so I can't say like I'm officially like, you know, making my living fishing or anything like that. But it's been definitely like a learning curve, and I'm still learning so much about it. So being around like a guy like Josh, like he is so savvy and excels on that side of things. And so it's been like a really cool, like I've just been around it enough. It's kind of, and he's introduced me to a lot of good people and stuff like that. So I've been kind of able to learn it quickly, some of it at least. But I think really like my biggest focal point on everything I've been trying to do is just like building my personal brand of like Chad Smith, and kind of trying to associate and line myself up with like the companies that I have already been buying or like want to use, and just, you know, have in my arsenal of equipment or whatever it might be. And I think like building your brand as you as an individual is like one of the most important things you can do in the fishing industry, because I think the rest starts to come with all of that. And so that's been kind of what I've been trying to focus on, but I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, is the fact that like you could be the best angler out there and you can catch fish consistently and have some great finishes like you have had, but if all of a sudden one day you get an opportunity to have a camera, or the camera is put in your face, like you just can't be this guy. Yeah, fish, the car went fast or whatever circle. You know, you got to be able to speak intelligently and also do a good job of those brands that you're working with right now. Maybe it's not the brand that you love, but if they're willing to stick their neck out for you, you got to do the same, and that just looks great to all the rest of the companies out there.
For sure. Absolutely agree.
I mean, that's one thing. And like composure, and not like when Brian asked, I want to go back for a second. You know, Brian asked like the decision-making process, like as you gotten older too, did that help, you know, did that maturity help make better decisions where you're not so, you know, we're young, I'm just going to go 100 miles an hour and figure it out. now you actually have to think about it a little more too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's like just kind of like being aware of like past, things that went well or went bad, and just kind of learning that like the good and the bad. Like the thing with tournament fishing is it's so short lived, and like it. I mean, you're gonna have good tournaments, you're gonna have bad tournaments, and then it's on to the next one anyway. So you got to kind of have a short term memory with that sense of it, and knowing that, I think being aware of that during a tournament scenario, just like if you have a bad tournament, it's okay. Go to the next one. If you have a good one, let's try to keep it rolling. And being okay with either outcome, I think can help a lot. And I've been really trying to like focus on practicing that mindset with it to a degree. I'm very competitive and like get mad when I do bad or, whatever. But yeah, I think just having that mindset of short-term memory with tournament fishing can help you, because it's all you can really do.
So you mentioned that you're kind of taking a break in 2023. Are you taking a break? Is it just I need to mentally collect my thoughts, or am I got to spend some time on the water getting better at this, because these last couple of years I kept getting my butt kicked in the same situation? Like, where are you kind of at with, like, what are you trying to accomplish in 23, I guess?
Yeah, so I guess I'll be pretty transparent about it. So I'm like, just kind of financially, it was kind of a burdening year on me. I just had some one-off things, like my truck's transmission went out.
Always.
I broke down in downtown Chicago with my boat and truck hooked up in traffic, and that was just a mess. But just stuff like that, and I didn't have like the greatest year finish-wise. I mean, overall, I finished like 25th, I think, in the points, and I got a few checks. I was like right on the bubble of getting a check, and then a couple just kind of didn't go my ways. But I'm really trying to focus on the biggest thing I noticed this year was that when I wasn't at or on the road at an open, I was either back here kind of just working my tail off to try to make ends meet to get back to the next tournament or the next trip, whatever. And it was taking away from some of my performance of like sponsorship obligations and just affecting things that way. And I didn't like the stress that it put on me. And my real goals now for 23 is going to be coming up with a much more structured business plan and organization of making sure I can be able to fulfill those obligations stronger, and just honestly save money too. I've got to save some money, but pay off a little bit of credit card debt, things like that. And but I can't not fish some tournaments. I'm still gonna be fishing a few local trails around here and things like that. But really, my focus is to really hone in on like the content creation side and learning how to run things as a business better from this point going forward, and structuring it to be able to do it around the next time I get back to the opens.
No, that's really wise, man. That's a really, really, really well said, I guess. I'm trying to think of a way to phrase that. It's really well said. That's a really smart plan moving forward for you. I mean, it like he's saying, it's really hard. Like if you can't show up and just be mentally free.
Yep.
Like I fished tournaments for 15 years before I ended up having kids and started the Reel Shot and all this other crazy crap. But I found out that once I had, like, when I started missing my kids' stuff, like I mentally wasn't free enough to just go be there. Because like if you're gonna go, and I think Chad would agree with this, if you're gonna be successful at a tournament, like for those 4, 5, 6 days, whatever it may be, that's all that you can be is there. Like you can't be worried about anything else. No bills, no car insurance coming due, no I'm missing something at home. Like it's got to just be free, because if you're not there, you're missing out on all the little things that make a fisherman successful, right? You're missing out on the bug hatch. You're missing out on the current break. You're missing out on the lighting conditions at 11 o'clock versus 1 o'clock because you're just not like, it's like I tell my kids all the time, like you gotta be where your feet are, right? Like don't worry about tomorrow. Be right here, right now. Do this, whatever you're doing, the best you can do. And you can't do that in fishing. It's already a crazy expensive sport, like, right? Like tournament fishing is crazy expensive. It's just a crazy, stupid sport to play. And if you're not mentally there, you're losing the game before you even start, really.
Yeah, no, that's back at you on the well said part. It's so true. And yeah, it definitely, with everything that was in my head, I guess this year, it does kind of have like a negative compounding effect on exactly like you said. You got to be in that moment, ready, totally just focus on the fishing. And I found myself in a few tournament days this last season that I just didn't feel like I was there for some reason. Just everything kind of compiling together.
Well, seeing where I think you're doing it right, Chad, is you recognize that. And you're not being too proud to say, hey, I got to take a step back, get my ducks in a row, get my poop in a group, however you want to say it, right?
Poop in a group?
Dude, I know, whatever. My wife says it all the time.
That's dirty. I'm not playing that one.
She used to say it all the time. She couldn't say get your shit together.
Oh, poop in a group. Yeah.
Anyway, so, no, but I mean, that's a really, really smart way to do it because so many guys in tournament fishing, and I'm sure, Chad, you've seen these, they get to the point where you're at, but they're too proud to say, hey, I need to take a step back for me and kind of get my stuff together again so I can be competitive. And they just run it so hard to where the credit cards and all that stuff, and they just take a giant nosedive, and then you never hear from them again. Because now they're spending the next 10 years trying to dig themselves out of a hole.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that, right. Like, I was at a point like that decision for me was one of the hardest things I've had to make in a while. Because it was like a little bit of ego, and I didn't want to take that step back, but I looked at it and I said, if I had another season, like nothing's promised. If I go have a season like I did, like my 22 season in 23, I could really do that to myself, that situation of just being in such a debt hole or whatever it might be, that it's going to take me years to come back from, as opposed to like one hard reset grind year to try to put myself back in it again for like to be at it for another decade or whatever it might be. It's just that pivot point of making that call. And I don't know, it's fishing as a whole, like the tournament, like professional fishing, it's such a long game anyway that 1 year is gonna fly by. It flies by.
How old are you, Chad?
Either way, I'm 27.
So like you're barely at the beginning of like tournament fishermen. If you look at it, and this is why I say this, I'm not trying to pick on your age, but like if you look at the guys who are really like good, they're in their mid 40s. And the reason for that is it's all that financial stress is gone for the most part.
Correct.
Like they put all those grind years in, they got through the kids, and now it's like, okay, I can be clear now, and I can show up and just do my thing. And I think that's a huge reason why you see that with fishing is they've gotten through all of that life burden stuff to where they can just show up and fish.
For sure.
And I know there's a lot of guys that aren't, right. The Poliniks. I mean, I know that it's not the same for everybody, but a lot of them are in that same group.
For sure, I agree 100%.
and like, well, there's two things I want to say. First and foremost, like the other thing too is this is true in life. Like I don't know if you are married or have a girlfriend, but they all have good ladies behind them.
Oh yeah.
Running the show.
You gotta say significant others.
Significant others. That's very right. Yes, yes, they all have good.
I don't think that happens a lot in the fishing world, but it will eventually.
Yeah,
so
support systems behind them, that are helping run all the business part for them so they can go out and do what they're getting paid to do.
It's such a mental game. It really
is. But you know what? You look like, you mentioned Polinik, right? He has a great wife that travels with him and she takes care. G-Man's the same way. All of them. They're all the same way. They run the businesses while the guys are out doing that. And I'm sure it'll be the same way if things flip-flop. Like if there's a lady out there, I'm sure her husband's going to do the same thing.
Nice work. Way to recover.
You like that?
Good job.
But on the flip side of that, like, this is probably a really good year, and it's working out well for you with the changes that are going into the formats that you fish. It's kind of like, I'm a big hunter, and I always tell people, don't buy a trail camera the first year it comes out. Let it get proven first. Well, with them making the big changes they are in that format, let's let the system get proven first, and then maybe have the opportunity.
And then you can go fish the MPFL. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
Well, it is kind of a good year. You picked a good year, fortunately, to kind of step back and be like, okay, now you guys go prove yourself for once, and then we'll see how that works for Chad Smith.
There's definitely a lot of change going on in the industry for sure.
Yeah, and I agree. I've like started to think that way too now that I've like made the decision. Whatever, I'm like, you know what? Maybe this isn't such a bad year to have this be. Just everything works out for a reason sometimes, and it's been really eye opening too. Back to just like I've had those conversations with like some sponsors and stuff, and I went up to them kind of like my tail between my legs, like, so this is kind of where I'm at. I don't know if I'm going to fish the opens this year. And they all were super supportive. Like it didn't matter really necessarily what I was fishing. So that was really cool to have those conversations and kind of understand that, they're sponsoring like Chad Smith, not Chad Smith fishing the opens. And so that was cool. But I guess something else I want to touch back on, like to the significant other point. I had traveled with Josh for a long, long time, and there was a transition that we were roughing it in hotels and stuff. But then he ended up getting a camper, and his wife Bree started traveling with him and their dog, and like the amount of like weight of load that Bree took off of Josh and I, it was incredible. We would, even when I started like fishing as a boater, I'd still travel and camp with them, and I'd wake up, I'd stumble into their camper all tired, and I'd get a glass of coffee, or a mug of coffee and breakfast, and then she'd hand us our lunches. We'd go out, we'd come back, she'd have dinner made, and we'd be rigging out like in the boats, and she'd come out and take photos and send them to us for our posts. And it was like, this is awesome. Like, holy cow. But just the amount, like, just to your point, like teamwork really does make the dream work. And it's crazy how cool some of those couples have it with like their business side, and how they each just take on, what they do. It's really cool.
So do you currently have a girlfriend or something like that? Or you?
I'm about as single as it gets right now.
We've done this beforehand. We've had
down this road.
All of a sudden, we got Tinder profiles on the screen before. We've had this happen.
Yeah. Andy, make the note from here. This is the 30-second to minute segment from today's show that we could pull out there. Chad Smith is looking for a travel partner to help run, 2024, help run his bass fishing business. So if anybody's looking for a handsome gentleman like Chad Smith with the long flowing hair, reach out to him on all his socials. Dude, we should start a bass fishing dating platform. That's what I think has got to happen.
Heck yeah. we need something like that.
Yeah.
Well, you got that new show. It's like The Bachelor now and whatever, but it's with farmers. Have you seen that one? I don't know the name of it.
Oh, okay.
I saw a commercial for it last night. So it's like The Bachelor, but it's a whole bunch of farmer dudes.
Oh, Fixed TV exclusive.
Really?
Can you catch this one?
So we got to blindfold a whole bunch of girls and get a bunch of different fish slimes, and they got to identify. They got to identify the slime.
They got to go through baits. Like the one test they got to be is like, Chad's got to be like, okay, can you tie an FG knot? And then, I'm like, yeah, you're the one. You get this crankbait. Like that. Instead of a rose, it's like a crankbait or something like that. See, dude,
oh my God.
This show has spawned so many great ideas, man. Like we're on to something, Chad.
Could we call it like the Bachelor?
Oh! There it is. That's perfect.
You know, the thing is, it probably would work.
Oh, it would 100% work.
It would totally work. There's 20 women out there that would line up to, because, I mean, I hope you're okay with Southern accents, but it'd probably be, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like every other sport has their groupies, you know what I'm saying? Like motorcycles. For sure. Yeah, of course. Like, so here's a little story while we're sidetracked for a moment.
While we're taking a giant nosedive on the show.
So we've done, like, for Fixed Productions here, we host our head-to-head fishing. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah.
So there was an event in 2020
with Tyson.
Yep.
Yeah.
We called it Duh Northwoods Ender. I'm surprised you didn't fish that one. It was a bass event in northern Wisconsin. But anyways, one of the guys that fished it, because we have controls of all this stuff here at Fixed TV.
I literally took his Tinder and put it instead of his name on the lower third when he was fishing. His phone, it was his cell number.
Phone number.
It was a cell number.
His phone number.
His phone just started blowing up.
gosh.
I think most of it was just dudes giving him a hard time.
Yeah, because it's all live streamed, so it was people started texting him. We started getting dares, like how many phone numbers can he get? Started getting shares, and the best was when the camera went live back to him. He's like, "Did they give away my phone number somewhere on the street?" It was the best, man. That was one of the best. We had a lot of fun with that.
Didn't we pull up his Tinder profile too?
No, we
do that with somebody.
We had Hoffman read his Tinder profile.
That's what it was. We read.
We
his
had
Tinder
Hoffman
profile.
read his Tinder profile live on the show. It was.
Oh, that was awesome.
So we're real good, man. We are the bass connectors here. So Chad, if you need some help, my man, I'm not saying you do. Not saying you do. We could probably find some available people to get you connected with. But so yeah, and I agree with what Brian said. It's a smart move. Kind of take a step back.
100%.
So okay, so like while we're kind of derailed here for a moment, like, do you want to give a shout out?
We actually did a really good job of staying on track for the vast majority of the show. That's really good for us. Like, we're not good at that.
It's solid.
You know, since
it wouldn't be a podcast without tangents.
Right? Absolutely.
Do you want to, like, I don't know if you should do this or not, but like, do you want to give a shout out to where you're actually working right now? So if people are in that area, they can help give extra funds to the 2024 bass fishing excursions.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I work in Waconia, Minnesota, and it's called the Garage Bar and Bowl. It used to be kind of like a bowling alley, but we got like 6 bowling lanes there. It's more of a restaurant bar, but pretty family friendly joint. And
nice.
It's a fun spot. So yeah.
So it's not a GoFundMe, but it is a GoFundMe. So if you see Chad in there,
it's a go find me.
Yeah, go find me. Slip him an extra 20. Say this is to help you fish in 2024. We're starting the 2024 raise the funds.
Nice.
Yeah, happily accepted. Just come sit in my section.
There you go. Well, cool, man. Hey, we appreciate you being on the show. I think we're gonna have to make you kind of a regular on here. You're a lot of fun, and but let people know, besides where you work, like obviously where they can find you social media wise, all that kind of stuff, and then we're looking forward to having you on the Fixed platform too.
And he's out.
Sorry, I just had a call. I just had a spam call come in, to be honest. So.
That's probably a phone number, bro.
Oh man, it's already starting. No, yeah. No, thank you guys for having me on. I mean, I'd love to do stuff like this more in the future. I'm always down. I have a blast doing it, so I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, all of my socials, mostly like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, I guess some TikTok. I gotta ramp that up a little more, but really all my socials, it's all just Chad Smith Fishing. So anything on there.
Awesome. Well, again, man, thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck here going into 2023, and then hopefully things work out and we'll see you back on the water in 2024.
Absolutely. No, thank you guys, and keep in touch. Well, yeah, this was fun. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Chad Smith, definitely look him up. He's a great guy. He's young. What do you say, 27?
27.
And
he's just getting started.
And the thing about it is, listen, what is his fallback? Say 2024 doesn't work. He's pre-med. Like the guy could go back.
Oh yeah, he's obviously smart.
Yeah,
guy.
he's super
I think
smart.
that's why he's making the right decision right now by just kind of taking a breather, focusing on the financial side, getting this shit in order. It's just the right move for. I wish more younger guys would figure that out.
Yes.
Right? Because there's no long-term success when you're broke.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to go this route, Brian. I know you love it when I do this stuff, but like, think of what's changed, that all the expenses have gotten more expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And that maybe he doesn't have to take a break if the things weren't the way they were right now.
Right.
You know, maybe he's still in the game.
Yep.
But hopefully
the
all
economy's been the last few years have been rough on a lot of people.
Everything.
A lot.
And especially the thing is, sport that's already freaking expensive.
Oh, right. And you're always going to be able to get back in it. It's not like you can't. It's not like if you're out, you can't go fishing again. And, you know, like you said, there's so much change going on in bass fishing right now with what MLF's doing, what Bass is doing, what the MPFL's doing. You know, who knows who's even around next year in order for these guys to fish and stuff. So
right.
I think it's a good move personally. Not that he cares what my opinion is, but
well, everybody does. That's why they want to be on the show. But it's
Jesus.
But it was awesome. It was really good. I'm glad
nice
we
kid.
had him on.
Super nice kid, man. He's got a great personality. So I think the future's bright for him.
And so I got his information from Andrew Banky, TRS sponsored angler. Andrew Banky, who's just getting started with his season. And I reached out to him. I said, you know what? Like, do you think and it was the minute I had a phone call with Chad, I was like, this dude has got the dude factor.
Awesome.
So I was pretty excited, and I was glad to, you know, make this relationship. And I can't wait. He said he's going to concentrate more on the content portion of it. And I was going to ask.
Now, do you think he's bringing stuff on to fix or no?
He's loving what we got rolling.
Okay.
And so, like, that was one thing I was going to ask if some of his sponsors were like, okay, man, if you're taking a year off, then you better step up that game.
Right, yep.
I'm sure that's probably something.
Figure it out.
Yeah. And you don't, this is the thing, man, you don't have to fish to pay tribute to your sponsors.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Actually, they get, to be honest with you, most of the sponsors, they care more about the content side than they care about the fishing side anyways.
Yep. All right, cool, everybody. Well, this was a good one. Oh, I did it. Boo-boo. Brian wants me to say this stuff earlier. Wednesday coming up, we have Coot Williams on the show.
That's going to be an interesting one.
I forgot to pronounce that right.
Is he physically here or on screen?
Coot will be right here.
So I got to call in then?
So he'll be sitting right over there. So Coot Williams will be here Wednesday. Thanks so much, everybody. Again, thanks to Chad Smith. Find him wherever he may be in Minnesota and tell him what's up. Give him a high five. Just don't cut his hair. It's looking good, I think.
I'd let it keep going.
I would. So, all right, we're out of here. We will see everybody. Let's freaking go. John Moat. All right, we will see everybody Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time.